Go.
Okay. Hello, hi. My name is Halin Lee, and I currently live in Hong Kong. I've been living here a little over a year now. I relocated from New York City, where I lived for 20 years. I miss New York quite a bit, but Hong Kong is a great place to live as well. Um, let's see, my background is in architecture. I studied and practiced architecture for over 10 years and switched over to real estate. And now I'm actually in marketing and public relations side of architecture, which I enjoy quite a bit. Um, so my experience with the digital world has been completely positive, I would say. Some people might say it's love-hate relationship, and to a certain degree, yes, there's a hate factor there because just being able to be accessible 24/7, which could be a negative thing. But overall, the digital world, the internet has made my life here in Hong Kong and the transition much easier than it normally would have been without the internet. For example, we Skype with our friends and family back home in New York quite often, especially our parents who live in New Jersey, who are quite attached to my daughter, who's sleeping in the back, who's 4 years old. They practically raised her until she was 3 years old, and they both miss each other a lot. But Skype has made all the difference for us because they it's not obviously you can call them, but hearing the voice is it's great, but it's not the same as being able to see each other's faces and the nuances, the expressions that you miss so much about them. And especially for my parents, that's been a um, huge help, and just it alleviates the pain of not having us there right next door, which we lived only 30 minutes away from them, and us as well. We don't miss them as much. It's funny because my mom at one point while we're Skyping said, "Oh, I don't miss you guys that much because I see you guys every week, and even though it's not the real physical seeing each other, the virtual seeing has really helped them a lot." So just closing the gap, the spatial gap, I think, between our world and their world, even though we're continents away, 12 hours apart, has made all the difference. And because of Skype, you know, we we are really grateful that they're able to Skype. This tool called Skype has enabled us to close that gap. Um, and I also want to talk about the convenience factor. For example, I live by my BlackBerry. I call it Crackberry actually because I'm totally addicted to it. I check it, I would say every 10 minutes. You know, um, Work in terms of work, it's extremely convenient because I can, I'm a part I have a part-time job now, marketing. So when I'm not in the office, it's when I'm with my friends or with my kids, I could still get work done. If people at work need to reach me right away, I'm still accessible, and that provides flexibility for me. I don't have to be in the office. I can still work outside the office. And also in terms of the time gap that we have between New York office and the Hong Kong office, we're completely opposite time zones. Um, it enables me to work even actually it my time is not wasted is what I want to say. Oftentimes, I have a newborn, or when I was pregnant, I'd be up in the middle of the night because I can't sleep or I need to nurse my baby. And, I would have my BlackBerry and I would email for work. And so, I'm not just dozing off, which I sometimes do. Um, so my time is always used, I guess, either for work or for social purpose, um, which you might say is kind of a bad thing because I could be doing other things, maybe, spending more time with my kids or, I don't know, organizing my paperwork. But that's why I stay cracked there because I am pretty much addicted to this thing. Another convenience that I found was is Google Map. I love this tool, and so does my husband. Hong Kong is an extremely difficult place to drive around. Basically, the GPS doesn't work because there's so many tall buildings. So I didn't even bother getting GPS, and I've been driving in Hong Kong for a year, for about 7 months now. So I use Google Map to navigate where I need to go and print out maps and to see what the streetscapes are so I can familiarize myself. I still get lost, but at least I know I'm kind of familiar with where I'm going before I get there. So it's really a helpful tool. And my husband, this is a kind of funny scenario, but I asked my husband to practice driving to the hospital where I was giving birth. This was 2 months ago, right before giving birth to my newborn. And it was very late at night. He was extremely tired. He didn't want to have to get in a car and practice driving 20 minutes. So what he did was he logged on to Google Earth and he practiced on Google Earth. And it actually worked. He knew exactly where he was going, even though the starting point was not the same. Um, he was familiar with the streets and where he needed to go. So as a tool, driving tool, these like Google Earth is extremely useful. Um, and let's see. And another issue I want to talk about is social network on the internet and digital world. For example, I've now reconnected with Oliviero, who's coordinating this project, and I believe we got reconnected through LinkedIn first, and then possibly via Facebook, and now we're on Skype together. So just friends that I've made through the years that I haven't kept in touch with that I wish I did are now back in my life because of tools like Facebook, LinkedIn, or Skype. And for me, it's a blessing because I really value friendship and I love reconnecting with friends. So it's been a really really nice tool for me to use to reconnect and to maintain contact with the friends. For example, I have friends from the past, from elementary school. I haven't spoken, and you kind of, just once in a while, you kind of wonder what they're up to. And I was able to reconnect to them through Facebook, and one of my friends I found that is living in Sweden with a Swedish husband, and just it's kind of fascinating where everyone ended up. Of course, it's not the final destination, but it's just fascinating to learn, what they're doing and what their life is like in wherever they are, Australia, Wisconsin, Sweden, Paris, you name it. And since I was fortunate enough to make acquaintances with so many friends all over the world, now I have Facebook connections to people all over the world. And, you know, now that I have a family and I'm not able to travel as much, for me, it's kind of like living um, vicariously through some of these people who do travel or who live in certain place where I used to live or I wish I'd lived. And, just going to their profile and seeing beautiful pictures of places they visited or reminiscing about places that I've already visited. It's really an awesome tool. So I guess for me, it's just internet has I can't live I can't imagine living my life without internet. Um, Connecting with friends, working, um, just in terms of convenience, is is just a great thing for me. And now that I have children, maybe it takes me away. Some of the time that I could be spending with my children is spent on the internet. So maybe that's the negative side of it. Because I do like to answer emails back right away because I hate not answering emails and realizing at 4 in the morning that I haven't done that. So I would say that's really the negative thing, that I do get a little bit addicted to Facebook or internet or Gmail. But really, other than that, I would have to say that digital medium, internet, Skype, Facebook, my Gmail account, even for example, sharing photos with friends and family through Flickr or SmugMug that my husband created. We create albums of our newborn on a weekly basis to update. I mean, really to archive, our life, but also to share with our friends our life here in Hong Kong, and especially our family. Um, it's just, like I said, it's an awesome tool, and a great way to close the gap. Now that we're in a different, new place, fairly new place. It's been a year. We still, we are finally starting to get settled in Hong Kong. But the internet has made that transition that much easier for us. And I know that it's going to just keep progressing. And there's going to be, so many other tools um, to make people's life easier. Obviously, there are many other negative sides to it if you wanted to, exploit it or abuse it. But that's something hopefully I'm not doing, and I hope not to do. So that's there's my little dog. And actually, let me mention this other thing about my dog who was transported from New York to Hong Kong a little over a year ago, and she needed really, really detailed paperwork, a lot of testing and paperwork from the veterinary in Manhattan, which I got done. It was one of the most stressful things I had to do in my life. And basically, if the paperwork wasn't right, she would have to get deported back to the U.S. And that was extremely difficult for me to handle and very stressful. What I was able to do was get in touch with one of the immigrations department officer, and I was able to email back and forth with her regarding the paperwork. I would scan all the paperwork and email her the paperwork to make sure that the paperwork was correct. And for me, that was like the most important tool for getting her into Hong Kong without any problems, because they were able to point out, if something was wrong with the paperwork days in advance of the flight. And that just took load off of my back, and not being stressed out that this paperwork was going to be rejected once I got to Hong Kong. So just things like that, just I can't imagine doing that by fax or by phone, because it's something that you need in writing, and faxing isn't always effective. I don't know. I mean, I never use my fax machine anymore. At work, I think it's broken. So yeah, I can't. So many things, just while we were doing the transition, really made my life easier by the virtue of having internet around. So that's me, Ha Lim, and I'm signing off. And I enjoyed this talk, and I'm sorry I'm not as prepared as I could have been, But I'm I have a newborn who I'm nursing currently, and I have a barking dog and a 4-year-old. So I've been a little bit busy, but I enjoyed this talk, and thank you for the opportunity. Bye bye.